Sensational Saturday, everyone. Welcome once again to the D Word. This is your host, Furley Almonte, and
Carolina Denhard. Good morning. Happy Saturday.
good morning, good morning, good morning. This is going to be a super spectacular show because this is going to be like, women power on steroid. Oh my goodness. I could not wait to introduce to you our guest because, we just met very recently and I said like, oh my God, she is perfect for Divorce Dynasty because, Carolina, she's the founder of Divorce Dynasty and it has exploded in more ways than we ever imagined. And so we need people who are very empowered, people who are ready to bring value to the world. And our guest today is one of those. Well, Danielle Hughes is the co-founder of Divine Capital Markets. It's a woman-owned firm. She actually offers holistic wealth management, and you would see her in a lot of nationwide TV shows. She's changing the landscape of the world of finance by having more female presence. And let me tell you something, she's going to share with you different tips on how we can actually put a mark on the landscape of the world of finance. And also, she actually provides wealth-wise education to individual masses and small businesses. And today, we're also going to delve on how women can get more empowered in the world of divorce, because we are joined by no other as well as the dazzling and more brilliant divorce, family law, and international attorney, Carolina Denhard. So first of all, let me introduce to you Danielle Hughes. Woohoo!
Hi, how are you, ladies? It's so great to be with you.
To have you here. Furley, being on the platform brings so much energy. And I can tell you that it's critical because when people go through divorce, even if you are the one that wants out of the relationship, it comes with a gamut of feelings, usually disappointment, rejection, failure, a lot of questioning of your own ability. And one of the things that women struggle with the most is their relationship with money. Whether you were the spouse that stayed home and your husband took care of the finances, or even if you were the breadwinner, you now have to divide that money by two. And you start worrying about, will it be enough? If I sell my home, where will I go? What about insurance? One of the biggest issues for women is the cost of healthcare. Wow. So when Divorce Dynasty was formed, which is a concierge platform of vetted professionals across various sectors to plug in when someone deals with divorce, death of a spouse, or disability, we find that the most important conversation is forensic accounting, investment planning, and identifying the assets. So Danny, you do a service that's incredible from a nuance of a female perspective, because it is true that men and women approach money differently. My male clients are of the opinion, I'll make more, it will happen, where women are like, I don't want to let go of what I have because I don't know if I will make more. And sometimes you need to let go to get more. It's like planting the field of wheat for the next season. So I welcome you to the show. I love that we just exchange information, that we have a common friend, Susan Asher, who I always say is the Melanie Griffith of the 80s. She identifies herself with job placement. It just speaks to the circle that we're in, that we are all speaking the same language of empowerment, despite the fact that we do different things. So Danny, welcome. And if you could just start with, what is the biggest thing that women ask you? The first thing they ask you when they come to you for services, what is their biggest fear?
I think the first thing that a lot of women say is that they don't know anything about money. They don't know anything about finance. They say, I don't math. And it's really a language differential between what Wall Street has always come at us with, which is this giant wall of very complex and confusing acronyms deliberately to confuse us, so that we just go, oh, never mind, I don't even want to know. Here's my money. Just take it, figure it out for me. But that's only to benefit them. And really what we want to do is talk to women and change the language around money. There's a lot of shame and blame, and you just talked a lot about the feelings that we have around just what's in front of us, especially when it's something that's scary, like divorce or widowhood, any kind of change that we embrace. And we're just kind of overwhelmed with all of these feelings. So what we try to do and what we endeavor to do is to empower women around Just the idea that, look, drop all that shame, drop the blame. You're here now. Doesn't matter what happened in the past. Let's really get granular and in control of what's out there. What do we have? What do we have right now? What are our assets? What are our liabilities? What do we not know? And then bring around you, like you so beautifully talk about, a network of people that are trusted, that know the things that you don't need to know, because you don't need to know everything. That's something that women always try to do. We're like, oh, okay, I'm going to embark on this thing now. Let me just figure out every little tiny thing about it before I actually go do something. And that's paralysis analysis. Like, you just cannot take it all on. I've been doing finance for 30 years, and I certainly don't know everything, but I know that I don't know it. And what I don't know, I have those people in my network that I can go tap into, and I know that they'll give me the right information. So that's what we want to empower women with, is to really build a team around yourself that talks to you in the way that you need to be talked to, that so that you can thrive, so that you can feel good about embarking and knowing that even though it's unknown, we've got your back.
You know, one of the things that I think is critical, and this is something that we do as part of the Divorce Dynasty platform, is bringing people such as yourself through the divorce process, having a seat at the table. So when we structure the alimony package, or somebody's later on in life and they're going to be getting a portion of somebody's pension or Social Security funds, or a distribution on investment property, how does that money look for the woman moving forward? And if the number is not what she thought it was, let's make it okay. You may not be able to live the lifestyle that you had. Quite frankly, under our law, no one's entitled to live a replication of the lifestyle. But that does not mean that you can't write your next chapter and still be very fulfilled and happy. And to Furley's point all the time, have a dazzling life. It doesn't end because your marriage ends, but it's working within your means and understanding the cash flow rather than getting divorced and accumulating debt right away because you want to keep up with the Joneses and you want to keep up with the old lifestyle.
Yeah.
Right.
One thing I wanted to point out is that one of the things that I noticed about Danny is that she's very approachable. There's something very angelic about the way you look. And, you know, if I was going through this divorce, I was like, okay, she's the kind of person I would like to talk to because she's very approachable. You have a holistic way of doing wealth management. Explain to us exactly what holistic means.
Sure. So thank you so much for that, Frilly. That's very sweet of you to say. Holistic just means the entire big picture. It's not just one little aspect like your taxes or your stocks and your bonds or your retirement accounts. It's really taking a look at the entirety of your financial life. But to your point, it's thinking about where you want to be in the future. So it's writing that new story, that new fairy tale, and shooting yourself off into the future, really imagining and bringing to yourself who you want to be, where you want to be, what feelings do you want to have, getting yourself out of the right now panic or fear and thinking about where can I go? What can I imagine myself doing? And then we work backwards from there. So we look at the whole entire picture. We look at your financial aspect. We look at what you owe. We look at what you've got. And we look at how to protect you. Because one of the things I think that makes us all very unique is that we're not coming to this, you know, as a billionaire. Like I've already, you know, I was born into it. And so this is how you have to do it. Because that's all baloney. You know, I've lived the life of being in debt and being in panic and coming from nothing, you know. And so when you've actually experienced it and you pull yourself out of that cycle, you can look at it from a different angle and you can see in other women how you can help them come out of that as well. So from that holistic standpoint, we want to look at every aspect of your life, but also just where you want to be, what you want to do in the world, because women are so important. Our impact is outsized from the percentage that we are of the population. We actually control more money than men do. You know, and I want to throw some numbers at you here, if you don't mind. But and we all know this: we are the spending power of America, right? Women are the consumer, so we spend 85% of the dollar that's out there. So we're 85% of the spend. When you look at the GDP, which is the gross domestic product, this is how we measure the health of our financial power as the United States. 70% of the GDP is the consumer. So guess what? Like when you do the math, we're 60% of the American power, but we don't think about it that way. We know that we're powerful, but we don't think about the fact that we actually are the spending power. Here's where I think the rubber really has to meet the road is when we look at the future. If we're going to change the future, if we're going to create the future we want to live into, we have to be the investor. That's where we're not really making a sizable impact. As women, only 22% of us have that desire to make the investments or be involved in investments. And that's really where we have to change the ratio.
And I think that the best way to do that is, yes, when divorce happens, you have to react because something's happening in your life that's a triggering event that causes you to come to the table because things are changing, whether you like it or not. But the goal for Divorce Dynasty going into 2021 is to really provide that educational component. Stay married. Don't ever get divorced. I'm not about promoting divorce. But by all means, get yourself educated because your husband can pass before you and likely will. Women outlive men.
Yes.
Or there could be something horrific that happens that's debilitating to him that prevents him from continuing his job. So do you have the right insurance in place to continue sustaining your family and college and the kids and so on? If you have a special needs kid, that's beyond further consideration. But do you know what your financial picture looks like? And I can tell you, I did a talk a couple of years ago where women will spend 100 hours a year planning a vacation. They'll get every nuance of the travel and the breakfast and the yoga and their hair color, right? So they cannot spend that time to think about their investment portfolio, a conversation with their husband. Do they have a will? So it's shifting the conversation. And I think that where the problem is, Danny, to your point, is that it's scary. Whatever you don't know is scary. Through Divorce Dynasty, through comfortable settings, through events, through something that's welcoming, through story sharing, we have to take the fear out of this conversation for women. So they come to the table and say, you know what? I have $1,000 extra a month. I'd like to invest that. What can I do? I have $100 extra a month. I'd like to invest that. It doesn't have to be, Danny, as you said, $1 million. Whatever your means are, start there to plant the seeds for your future.
That's right. And we want to make it as exciting as planning your vacation, your dream vacation, because you're planning your dream life, right? It's the same kind of puzzle. So it's the same idea of looking for value, of finding out where you want to be and how you want to do it. And it's really creating your financial life. So that same exact feeling of excitement about the future that you get when you're planning this great vacation is the same kind of thing that you're planning with your great life. So finance is not scary. It's actually, I always tell this story because women are like, oh, I just don't get like finance. I don't understand like how to pick stocks or anything like that. Well, if you shop, which most of us do, and you want to make a blueberry pie and you go to the grocery store and that little tiny thing of blueberries is like $9.99. You're like, you know what? I'm not making a blueberry pie because $9.99 is like outrageous for blueberries. I want the $2.99 one and it's not for sale right now. So I'm going to make an apple pie. It's the same idea as investing. Investing is about value. It's not about chasing something, but it's about bringing returns to yourself over time. Right? So you want to have that same kind of mentality. And it's not like you have to do it yourself. That's the beautiful thing is
I love that analogy.
That you love.
I'll never look at the blueberry pie the same way again. Because I'm one of those people who's petrified to talk about money because I don't know where that fear started from. For women, we don't want to deal with the money situation. We're very good at managing the home, but when it comes to money management, it's always the men. And so come divorce time, you're clueless, where the money are. And now you have to hire a forensic accountant to actually find where the money is hidden. And then, of course, and then you get blindsided and you're very hurt, to deal with the pain of losing a marriage, right? And then you have to also realize that something was hidden from you. You feel betrayed, right, Carolina? And so
absolutely, and it's even more complicated. Furley, you mentioned I do a lot of international divorces. I do a lot of work in Eastern Europe. And the smart individual that lives in the United States, people, I'm a first generation immigrant. Polish is my first language. And my mom and I, built a life here. But my mother immediately, when she had funds, started investing in Poland. Other clients do the same thing. So when we are now divorcing these women that are here, the first thing we do is do an intake of assets, real estate, investment portfolios, startup companies abroad. And it's a very scary world because you're involving counsel across the pond, understanding the valuation process. What does it mean for taxes? There's a lot of things to consider. But at the end of the day, it's the same thing. It's whether it's in the United States or in Korea or in Poland, we have to get to it.
Yes.
So my point is, if you are educated and you know, it doesn't have to be specifics, but if you know that you have parcel in Poland, at least you know. Doesn't, you don't have to know the hectares of the parcel, or just know that it's there. And I like the idea of the fireproof box. People going to Home Depot, buying the fireproof box, having the A to Z dividers, putting your bills at PSE&G, electric, Charles Schwab. Start gathering the information. Don't worry what you're going to do with it. If my foot hurts, I'm going to go to the podiatrist. I'm not going to try to operate on myself, right? So just have the information so you could bring to the professional and start talking about what this really means. Danny, what are some of the things that you find work best for women that are in the small business sector or getting divorced? What are some of the top 3 things that make them say, oh, I can do this. I'm excited now. What is it?
Well, I love your idea of the firebox, and I'll even take that a step further, because one of the things that even now, when we talk to women about, gathering all of these documents, even if they haven't really made sense of them yet, or even know what they're attached to, gathering them all up and putting them somewhere, we talk about building up a vault online. So there's many different ideas on vaults online. There's Dropbox, there's Google, but there's other much more secure ones where you have access to it anywhere in the cloud. So you can get it on your phone, you can get it on a computer in your lawyer's office, but gathering up that data virtually and being able to have it in a box so that even if it's just a big hairy mess, who cares? It's all gathered in one place. And then just taking it piece by piece, bite by bite. When you clean up a hoarder's closet, it's the same thing. You don't attack it all at once, because it's overwhelming and it makes you feel like, oh, I can't do this. You have to do it a little bit at a time. Create rituals. Maybe your ritual is every Saturday morning, really early before the kids are awake. I'm going to make the most amazing cup of coffee. I'm going to go into my office. I'm going to light a candle. I'm going to say a prayer, and I'm going to attack the insurance part. I'm just going to put it all in a file neatly, make sure I have everything. So that's the kind of mentality where we're nurturing ourselves, where we're actually taking care of our financial life.
Because actually, that's why we're going to collaborate with Danny, because there's an aspect of her business that also is in insurance. And just like what Carolina said, you have to plan for it. I know it's something that you do. Sometimes the people think they think it's morbid, but the cool part about the life insurance now is that there's also living benefits. So you don't really have to die. So you don't have to think of life insurance only as in terms of death, but it's protecting your income and protecting your lifestyle in case something happens in the process. And that's really what's cool about being able to work in partnership with different expertise here in the Divorce Dynasty, is that we're able to provide everything that anyone could possibly need when they are in a marriage, in a relationship, right, Carolina?
Absolutely. I mean, Danny, you mentioned the whole thing of cleaning out the clutter. We even have people that go in that organize and help you move, because sometimes you're stifled with fear. Talking to Furley about life insurance is one fear. Getting rid of all your 20 years of pictures and have with your family as a unit with your husband is another fear, right? So we're dealing with the emotional, the psychological, and then the financial. And a conversation like this multiplied by 30 professionals, all your needs are covered. We take the pressure out of it. But I love what Furley's saying, because people have such an approach to life insurance. It's not that. She brings a solution to a fear and a problem. Danny, you bring a solution to a fear and a problem. So I think that what we need to do is really get these women to come into a safe place and give them, Danny, what you said, new habits, new rituals. Start it once a week for an hour. Develop a new path. We can change. What's our book, Furley, that we talked about? I think it's 7 Habits of Successful People or something.
Yeah.
You can develop a habit. I think a new habit. Is it in 30 days? If you do something.
It's less than that. It's like 3 weeks, I think. It's
21 weeks to change a habit.
Yeah.
So if we give people the tools, in 3 weeks, Mrs. Smith, Mrs. whatever, you can be on your way to becoming a new person. What does Einstein say, right? The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again. Be like, oh my God, why is this the same result, right? Because you're not changing what doesn't work for you. You're ignoring your gut. The fear is feeding you. And Divorce Dynasty really is about letting go of the fear and building a dynasty, which is a word of growth and power. no matter what your budget is, it's growth and power.
Yeah.
I love that we're
Like money, the finances is something that we really learn we have to master, because in a way, because it's the beginning part of it. Like, actually, this is a really funky word, perturbation. It's dirty, right? but the time, the zone of perturbation is really weird, because you feel anxious, you're sweating because you don't think you can tackle it. But then again, once you get educated, which we do, as women, we educate others in different ways.
Right.
There's the legal part, there's the financial part, there's the insurance part, protection, whatever it may be. When you're open to educating, open your mind, and also, basically free your spirit to be able to embrace change. Nowadays, with this pandemic, we have to virtually change, change everything. We have to change our habits, right? Even the way we do judicial system, it has changed, and so we need to just be able to embrace resilience in this aspect. And that is really critical in terms of being able to live a very, very, holistically joyful life.
Absolutely. And you know what, in this time of the pandemic, what I said to my clients who are going through divorce is, look at it as a positive. You can't go out to eat. You really can't spend. You shouldn't be buying new clothes. Use the time to get into your closet and pull out all the goodies you've had all over time, right? And watch your bank account grow, because even that Starbucks that was closed in my town forever, I'm dropping $5 a day on coffee, right? Even that adds up. So in every bad situation, I think there's a silver lining. And if we give people the tools to turn that into even small accomplishments, baby steps, they feel empowered. And that's a very big word. Without feeling empowered, you feel broken. So that's the tools we need to give them.
Danny, give us 3 tips on how to, using your holistic way, okay? Give us 3 tips on how we can actually free ourselves from fear of dealing with financial worries.
Sure. So the first thing I think is you have to get in the right frame of mind. And to do that, you have to push away everything from your front and center life, step away from the keyboard, and bring yourself to a place where you're getting out of the panic. And either that's meditation, or you go for a run, or you make yourself a nice meal, or whatever it is to get yourself out of the frame of panic. And then start to create a ritual around taking this bit by bit. So give yourself a big piece of paper and say, on this Saturday, I'm going to do this. The next Saturday, I'm going to do that. It's not something you have to do all at once. But I think the biggest thing is to really understand that you're not alone. Build yourself a network around you that's safe and feels good. Because the whole thing about taking on something when you don't know what you're taking on, you don't know the monster that's behind the door. I always think of that scene in Star Wars in the Return of the Jedi. No, it's the first one. When they're in the garbage chute and there's that thing going around and they know it's there and they're just like, what does it look like? It's that panic of, I don't even know what it is and I don't know how to get out of this. So
but it's uncomfortable, right? It's uncomfortable. You don't know what it is though. Yeah.
You don't know what it is. And it's not like you really need to know every little bit of things that's going on there. You just have to bring yourself to a point where you're understanding that you are going to be okay, because you're surrounding yourself with the people who are going to guide you to the right place to be. I don't know if I just gave you 3 tips, but I think most of it has to do with your own mind. It's not really about, calling this one or calling that one. It's really your own mind and calming yourself down, bringing yourself to a place where you're going to be okay. Like you would say to your children, everything's going to be okay. And then you really tackle it bit by bit. You take it on as if it's not what it is, right? You drop the shame and the blame around it, and you take it on like something else that you're good at in your life.
One of the things that I want to leave our viewers with, Ferlie, before you close off, is that women have an amazing sense of intuition, right? The men are the hunters, but the women know when the storm's coming. Mm-hmm. So all the women out there that are watching, whether you're contemplating divorce, you're in a bad relationship, or you're looking for a relationship, or you're dating, whatever it may be, that little gut feeling that you get, listen to it, journal about it, do a vision board about it. That is your inner barometer telling you that something's wrong. And getting back to the financial picture, if you have such a fear of money, there's something feeding that fear. You have to identify what it is. Don't bury it, because a lot of women will bury it. Use that barometer, welcome it. If it's uncomfortable, the more uncomfortable, the better. It will push you over the edge to make a change in your life.
Carolina, we're always taught that, like, as women, your emotions make you weak. You're that, but that is our superpower. Our emotions and our intuition are our absolute superpower. So knowing that that's our superpower and trusting that gut, and when you sense something, when you have that spidey sense,
Yes.
journal it out, write it out. What is bothering me? Is it really this? Is it really this? Okay, now I know what that is. Right. So to your point, I believe that 100%. Our gut is everything. So really trust that gut.
And only women are wired that way. Woo! Our superpower, right? Well, first of all, what are the different services that you offer under your umbrella?
Sure. So Divine Asset is really run by my partner, Val Sanchez. And she and I together provide a number of different services. It's really 3 services that we're paid for. One is financial planning, where we take a look at that holistic approach. We take you to the edge of your life to really figure out where you want to be, what you want to build, and then build it backwards. We do insurance and planning, and life insurance is love. We talked about this really. So we do life insurance. We do all kinds of different insurance because you want to buffer yourself from life's up and downs. And then finally, we do wealth management, which women go, wealth management, oh, I'm not wealthy. But a guy with like 2 dimes in his pocket will be like, that's for me, But really, wealth management, we have to think about it differently. This is about building our wealth, building our empire. So what we do is we create portfolios. We really think about building portfolios for the future. So ESG, environmentally, socially, and governance responsible. So
and how do they find you?
DivineAssetMGT.com, and Divine is spelled Divine.
And we'll put this, Furley, when we share the show.
Yes.
Put a link to your company, Danny. So people can
Thank you.
Before we go, Carolina, what is this diamonds and jeans that you were talking about?
Yes.
So I have a very exciting announcement. Actually, at 12 o'clock today, I have a call with a magazine called Jez, Jez, that's run by Ez, who is a big-time photographer in the very affluent world of California, New York, and so on. The magazine launched a couple years ago. Susan Sarandon was at the launch for human trafficking and stopping sexual abuse against women. So the magazine has a very philanthropic, organic seed. And one of the things he talked to me about is Divorce Dynasty is spectacular. You have the jets, the mansions, it's great. But let's get down to the granular. Everybody has a pair of jeans. Everybody usually has a diamond ring. The jeans could cost $1,000 or be from Old Navy for $25. The diamond could be a 10 carat or a quarter carat. We are all people that have the basics of what makes us the same. So we're going to be doing a photo shoot with Jez, from the magazine, and have everybody, like a Gap ad almost, showing the world that building your wealth, Dan, to your point, it could be $1, it could be $1 million. Let's talk about the building blocks of helping you get to the chapter and the fairy tale that you want to live.
Ooh, I love that. I told you, you'll be a dazzling diamond here at Divorce Dynasty. And look at this, 3 beautiful women, like totally empowered, ready to change the landscape of the world, financially, legally, whatever it may be, right? So I can't tell you enough that how I appreciate this broadcast, because definitely we are changing the world of women, not only just women, actually, the divorce world or the world of transitions, so to speak. You just need to tap into your inner power, trust your intuition, make sure that you plan your life so that you design your life so that you don't, life doesn't throw a curveball on you and you'll be knocked down. No, you are going to be resilient. Well, until next time, this is Furley Almonte from the Divorce Dynasty, and also the D Word with Carolina Denhard and our special guest, Danny Hughes, saying have a spectacular and sensational Saturday and Sunday. Until then, till next week, bye-bye.